Hey guys, a long time ago we did what INTJs and INFPs think of ENTJs, and I think you guys kind of like this video, so we're going to keep doing that, continuing on with INFJs, and hopefully if you guys like it, we'll continue to go through all of the 16 types.
Okay, I'll start off with what I, as an INTJ, think of INFJs. I really love INFJs. It's always nice to see like a fellow NI Dom. I think it just like makes me more comfortable in my own skin. Seeing someone who's kind of similar to me, I guess. But they're also like so, I don't know, very warm and empathetic. And they usually try to foster closeness in some respect. And I think now maybe that I've developed my FI a little bit more, I can actually appreciate this. Yeah, and they create closeness in more of like a one-on-one kind of setting usually, as opposed to maybe like an ENFJ or ESFJ or something. So it's a closeness I like. I think I do have to be kind of conscious of like making sure I do some kind of FE things when I'm talking to, or interacting with INFJs. Yeah, just like being more emotive, I guess, when I'm around them. Or like making sure I hug them when like we say goodbye, or things like that. Because I know that like I know that like I have all my feelings internally and they probably don't show that much, so I think an INFJ might be completely like unaware that I might be, that I enjoy their company, so I try to make that obvious. They're also a TI user that is kind of like it's like an easy way for me to enter TI because the INFJ has that NI as well, so there's some kind of familiarity with how their mind works. And then, yeah, so that NI connection is really great, but then having that TI-TE, I guess, difference, it kind of, yeah, I always find the way they think about things as like very original and something that I usually can't fathom. So I enjoy talking to INFJs just to, yeah, it's always very intellectually satisfying, I would say, talking to INFJs.
Oh, you have so much to say about INFJs! First of all, INFJs, you guys are freaking rare AF. Like, you're so rare! So you guys are really rare, and it's hard for me to comment because I feel like I don't know any INFJs like super well, but let's refer to my notes. Okay, so I wrote that NI and FE exudes this like quiet, confident air about them. Like, they can be quiet for a long time, but I don't really get the sense that they're awkward or uncomfortable. Yeah, now whenever they speak, it tends to like be very calm and soothing. Like, I never get the sense that they're speaking to show off their knowledge or to do anything of that sort, or speaking to fit in. Like, whatever they say, it just seems to be like the truth. It's like, I'm imparting some wisdom upon you plebeians, but but like without that type of attitude. And then like the NIFE can also like manifest in some sort of psychic seeming qualities as well. Like, they tend to be able to anticipate my emotions very well, or like, yeah, my emotional needs and maybe other people's emotional needs before we even know that we have that need. Like, sometimes they'll do like an act of service, or they'll offer some help, or just give a compliment or something, and when they do that, I'm like, oh, that was so good, or I did need that. I didn't even know that I needed that.
Like I said, there's this comfort of like being with another NI Dom. Usually can be comfortable silences between the two of us. I think maybe with other people, especially who don't have NI, I might feel kind of compelled to like fill silences because I'm like, oh, maybe they take my silence as like disinterest or something. But usually with an INFJ, there's like this mutual understanding of like, okay, we're both just in our heads trying to process things, and we don't have to like rush to say anything. And I really enjoy that kind of comfort with them. And then sometimes when you see their like repressed SE like bubbling to the surface, I love that too. When you kind of see that spontaneity or like kind of goofiness in them, and that also makes me more inspired to kind of let my SE side out in socializing a little bit more. yeah, in a lot of ways we are kind of kindred spirits, but then there's enough differences there to kind of make things interesting, I think.
Yeah, so the repressed SE of INFJs, I think I see it sometimes with like food. So there's like INFJ girl. I know. Yeah, like we were at this restaurant, I think, and then it's like a place that we've been to like before, I think. We got like Brussels sprouts, and that's the same thing we got last time. But then she was like, oh, last time it was like way buttery and like so much better. But this time they just like steamed it. Yeah, I think that's what it was. They steamed it instead of roasted it. And then once she said that, I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. Maybe I had an inkling that it wasn't that good, but I didn't really know why. But she was like, wow, I'm so unimpressed. Why is this so unimpressive? Yeah, so I saw that as like an inferior SE person.
That's funny. That's totally something that I would notice too. If I was expecting, buttery roasted things and they came steamed, I'd be like, no, my SE experience has been robbed from me.
Oh yeah, she was quite upset at that. And the other thing is INFJs are super like great listeners, and they're very gentle, right? Their demeanor tends to be very like soothing, elegant, and gentle. So when she had these steamed Brussels sprouts, she was like, what? No, like this is not up to standard. So NIFE, she seems to have like this long-term plan for interpersonal relationships. Or, yeah, I guess in this case, I'm talking specifically about, like, a romantic relationship that she just, like, sees his, like, entire future for. And even, like, with her friends, I think she tends to get, like, lifelong friends, or she doesn't invest. And, yeah, so for INTJs, I think their NITE is kind of, like, they usually have this long-term plan for their career. So she has this long-term plan for, like, it seems like every interpersonal relationship that she has. Which is kind of interesting, because there's, like, that famous INFJ door slam thing that I never heard about until recently. So apparently, like, an INFJ can just suddenly be, like, done with you or something, as the legend says in MBTI communities. And it seems to make sense, because if they have NI and TI, if you think about it, if you no longer fit into their NI and it doesn't make, like, this relationship no longer makes sense to their TI, then they're like, oh, shit, like, it's just done. Yeah.
And everything you said about them being kind of like having such a soft, gentle energy and just being very easy to talk to and open up to, and very true. I think what I said actually kind of does make sense with the Socionics relationship. So for INTJs and INFJs, we are comparative relations, which is actually INTP, INFP, and the Socionics, terminology. So yeah, it says that we have a lot of similarities, we have similar interests. Then it says basically that we might not be good at giving each other advice because we look at the same problem in very different angles, and the other person might see it as impractical. I could see that. I think that's why, though, it makes the relationship so like intellectually stimulating, because we have those FETI versus TEFI, and we just approach things so differently that it's always like such an eye-opener to see how another NI Dom approaches it. But yeah, I do think there was an INFJ who would give me advice, and I think it was just something that I just, probably very FETI advice that like I just could not see myself doing in any capacity. I find that a lot of the Socionics relations is kind of paints a very negative picture more than a positive picture for like a lot of it. So like I agree that maybe we're not the best advice givers to one another, but I still really enjoy the company of INFJs. Oh, and it does say that that we usually enjoy each other's company within a larger social group, because we kind of have similar social behaviors, and that's kind of what I was talking about. Like, when I'm with an INFJ, there's that kind of comfort that like I can just kind of be myself, and hopefully the INFJ feels like they can be themselves.
Somewhere it says that like for kindred or comparative relationship types, it often leads to an overuse of your leading function, in which case it's like NI, And it says that this is like really enjoyable at first, but in the long term leads to like NI exhaustion. I thought that was like so interesting.
Maybe. Maybe I've never spent like enough time with an INFJ to get to the point of NI exhaustion. So
It's so funny. You're like, Okay, so for us, we're quasi-identical, which is kind of like a hilarious term. When I read that, it's like, what does that mean? So for INFJs, INFPs, it's kind of interesting because now we're talking about Socionics. According to Socionics, we have the same 4 strong functions. Because as INFs, right? Like, yeah, as INFs, we're good at all the feeling functions, all the intuitive functions. We're so different. Like, a lot of the times I have no idea what an INFJ is thinking, and I get that comment from INFJs. They're like, what are you thinking? Or like, what are you feeling? Because it's like introverted feeling, right? I'm not like expressing anything. Unless they're tapping into their psychic, like an I thing. If they know me a little bit better, maybe. Okay, it says that you have a lot to say about the same types of topics. So you have like the same interests, but you take a completely different approach, which is so true. Like if we think of like the INFJ girl, okay, we love talking about relationships as NFs, but we have like the most different approach to relationships ever. I'm like, I need to NE explore in my FI space. Even like when I was little, I was like, okay, I gotta go through all these relationships to know. But I think NI just knows. I think just NI can just know from patterns that are occurring in society and other people's relationships, so they don't need to actually like try it. So anyway, so her approach is just like find the person, and she found the person, and it's just like him, and she's like so sure about like this one relationship that I'm pretty sure they're gonna get married, or yeah, like both of them think that they're gonna get married, and it's like pretty much her first relationship. Yeah, so I was like, oh, this is so different. But then, yeah, we definitely like talking about these things. And I think we're both kind of non-judgmental. Like, I don't judge her for her ways and vice versa. We're all both like shocked by our ways, but we don't judge them. It says here, it's kind of cool. It says we're impressed by each other's leading functions, but we view it as like a performance. Like, we don't think it's authentic to the other person because it's each of our like demonstrative function, whatever that means. So apparently I'm like putting on this act when I use my NI, so I project that onto her and think that when she's using her NI, she's like, like putting up a front, but it's actually just her strongest function. Well, and I can kind of see this because I think I'm always questioning her about this like super long relationship that she is going to have. I'm just like, wow, how can you be sure? Oh my gosh. And then she's always like, wow, Calypso, you're so comfortable in like doing your own thing. She phrases it like that, like, oh, you're so courageous that you can just like, you think this is right, so you just do it. Like, so yeah, I definitely agree that we're kind of being impressed by the other person's like use of their leading function. And here it says they're easily drawn to personal, too personal conversations because they have this feeling that the other person gets them. And even with like the INFJ guy that I interviewed, he suddenly like divulged a bunch of personal information. This was like the second time that he met me, I think. And he was like, wow, I don't know what came over me. Usually other people divulge themselves to me, not the other way around. So I think it's true, and I definitely like tend to suddenly like spill the beans to INFJ people. So, alright, dear INFJs, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Oh my gosh, I feel like 2 FI users doing this video so self-absorbed. Like, let me talk about my relationship with INFJs and your relationship. Okay, as always, thanks for watching INTJ and INFP Coffee. And you can subscribe for more videos. And if you enjoy our content, consider pledging your support to us on Patreon.